Well, hey guys, welcome back to the channel where it's all about racing. Glad to have you. Today we're going to take a look at two Spark Toyota GR010 Hybrids. The first one over here on the left being the number 7 car, the winner of Le Mans in 2021. Let's see, Spark does a nice job of throwing it. And there, take a look at the back of that box. And then on the right side is the number 8 car, the sister car, the winner of Le Mans in 2022. And much like the first car, it's kind of decorated the same, even though Spark takes a greater prominence on this side of the box. And on the back, you have a totally different picture. So if you take a look at the back of these two cars, even just, 1 year apart, they're completely different. Kind of cool. Well, as is typical with Spark, both cars come with wooden bases, acrylic jewel covers, and these 24-hour Le Mans theme box that we looked at just a moment ago. Well, so here we get a look at both of these cars separately. It's really kind of interesting. I really like the white base on the 2021 car. I just think it provides better contrast than the black base does on the 2022 car. But anyhow, speaking of these cars, here's the scoop. Now, the Toyota GR010 is a hybrid prototype racing car developed for the 2021 Hypercar Rules for the FI World Endurance Championship. Yes, they won Le Mans the first year with this new car. It was the successor of the TS050 hybrid, of which competed from 2016 to 2020, achieving 2 WWC World titles and 3 straight victories at the 24 Hours of Le Mans from 2018 to 2020. It's no wonder everybody was sick of looking at Toyotas, and I kind of get it. They were so dominant, and quite frankly, they were dominant against lesser competition. You didn't have, Audi and Porsche had pulled out, and you didn't have Ferrari and everybody else joining up like you do today. But you got to admit, they made a great car. They were dominant. It's still a great car. That being said, the chassis is a carbon fiber and aluminum honeycomb monocoque, and the engine is a Toyota H8909XL 3.5-liter 90-degree V6 twin-turbo min-longitudinally mounted four-wheel drive system. Pretty cool. It's mated with a THSR, this is interesting, Li-ion battery. It produces 671 horsepower with additional 268 horsepower from the batteries, totaling 939 horsepower. Pretty good for a prototype car. The transmission is a Toyota Transverse 7-speed with 1 reverse sequential semi-automatic system. Now, in the 2021 WEC season, the two cars would combine win 16 out of 21 races with 32 podiums and 12 poles. I mean, they just freaking dominated. And from 2021 through 2023, Toyota would rack up 3 constructor and drivers championships. Very, very good showing. Now, these cars have an interesting scheme. I don't know if you've really noticed it here, but you have a combination of black, red, and white. And it varies. You take a look at them from the top. The base of the color of the car is white. It has the red that runs from the nose all the way to the back. And then you have a little bit of reds on the sides with black alternating from the, on the number 8 car, from the left fender well to the rear of the car, much like the number 7 does. Almost exactly. And quite frankly, the only difference between the two cars and the way you could even tell them apart is the number 8 car has white mirrors and it has a white windshield wiper hub, while the number 7 car has red mirrors and it has a red hub. Otherwise, the cars are absolutely identical. Both Spark models are quite phenomenally. They're extremely well done. Guys, if you've never noticed this, take a look at this. It's we're going to look at the number 8 car here. It's almost like you have flying buttresses here in the front, much like you did on the Ford GT, which I think is really, really interesting. And we'll take a look at the nose of this car. Now, the nose has this massive front splitter on it, and I mean, guys, it is, look how far this thing is. Interestingly enough, there are no dive planes on the car. I noticed I was watching the Sao Paulo race today. In fact, I just finished watching it. I know it's 2 weeks old, but the the 2024 models do have dive planes on the Toyota. They did not back in 21 and 2022. Headlight detail is phenomenal. I mean, with Spark, you just get the whole package. If there's one weakness to this car, it would have to be the driver's cockpit, because you just can't see jack shit inside of it. The windows are virtually black. I mean, you can see that they made an effort to put something in there, but it's really, really hard to see it. Now, if you turn this car around a little bit, some of the details that really make Spark stand out and separate from virtually everybody else. Look at the tiny petite pitot tube that you have right there on the front of the car. Then you have a number of aerials. They're very, very small and again, very petite, just like you see on these cars. And then you've got these air vanes on the top of the cabin. Again, very, very nicely done. Virtually all the air vents and the air intakes on the car are perforated and they're textured. Now, the rear of the car looks really, really cool. Not only, there's a couple things you notice here. You see the red livery going from red to white on opposite sides. And take a look at the exhaust and how nicely Spark does them in the back of this car. I mean, just absolutely beautifully done. Guys, those exhaust pipes are separate pieces. They're just not, a lot of times they just paint, an exhaust, or they punch out the plastic. You actually have a separate piece in there, and you can see it looking at it from the top. There you go. You can see a little bit of silver. That is just a separate little piece. This is the attention to detail that makes Spark so good at what they do. And then you take a look at the rear of the car. You see the tow hook. You've got carbon fiber detail abounding on it. The heat shields. Take a look at the carbon fiber wing. Now, the wing is really rather thin for a hypercar, but it looks really, really, really good. Now, the drivers for the number 8 car that won the 2022 24 Hours of Le Mans were Sebastian Buemi, Ria Hirakawa, and Brendan Hartley. And for the 2021 24 Hours of Le Mans, you have Mike Conway of Britain, you have Jose Maria Pachito Lopez from Argentina, and Kamui Kobayashi from Japan. Hell of a lineup that Toyota had in both of these cars. And they've had for years, just extremely well done. Now, here's a really cool look at the driver's side, and you can see that the driver in this case is on the right hand side of the car, and this is the pod window, which again they have really nicely done. You can see you can see that's open. It's a separate piece. I mean, look at my brush. You can see that literally going into. These are the things that just make Spark so good. And quite frankly, folks, this is why I only buy Spark cars anymore. Now, admittedly, I made a whole bunch of Formula One purchases, in the past couple of months, and I got Burago, and I even got some mini champs. I've never bought mini champs before, and I'm not really fond of mini champs, but Spark is just the preferred brand. And guys, I have some amazing Spark cars. Believe it or not, I have 30 cars currently that are unopened, sitting back that I have not reviewed yet. The way I do this is I open the car, I review it, and then I put it in my collection. So if I haven't reviewed it, it hasn't even been out of the box. And some of the cars I've put back because they weren't as interesting, and they're like a year old. But anyhow, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, guys. 2 great cars, a great part of Toyota history. Really proud to put them in my collection, and we'll see you next time.